Everything in life cannot and should not be seen in only two different shades of color. There is no truth in defining things in black and white, since there are so infinitely many different underlying factors for each action performed by each person. Narrow-mindedness is for the socially detached individual. Perveen Salim. Why does the color of our thinking matter? Between the colors black and white, there is an area of gray. I personally do not believe in the black and white method of life because humans consist of strengths and weaknesses and positive and negative traits in our personality. Otherwise, we wouldn't really be human. In reality, situations are almost always shades of gray, not black or white. Seeing things as black and white tend to give people depression, anxiety, and conflict in relationships. It can prevent people from seeing things for what they really are, and they don't realize what's really happening. This all or nothing mentality narrows our vision and creates insecurities. On the HuffPost, Breaking Out of Black and White Thinking by John Temperis, he compares black and white to the universe. The Earth was a dualistic planet. If it was a dualistic planet, it would be like us thinking black or white. If often and often strayed toward its neighbor, Venus, which is closer to the sun, liquid water would evaporate because the planet would get too hot. But if it strayed closer to Mars, liquid water would freeze because it'd be too cold. So that is why the planet Earth rotates and orbits around by the green belt. It's more of a neutral area. The temperature, it's the right temperature, and it's has habitable conditions to sustain life. That is the gray area. To help you more understand some examples of black and white, it would be good or evil, love or hate, right or wrong, smart or stupid. It's nor black or white. Simple as that. Or always or never. That's a good one too. This is how to avoid black and white thinking. There is an activity called Psych Central, and this activity was done just to I guess to help people think of the middle ground between opposites. So I'll give you a couple examples. You can either write them down or think about them in your head for a couple minutes, whichever works best for you. But I want you to think of a gray area in between all of them that would describe a middle ground between the opposite pair, such as hot or cold. It would be, for the middle ground here, would be lukewarm or warm or temperature. Another one would be large or small, and the middle ground would be medium. It was very challenging. These weren't the only ones that I had come up with. I came up with a few other ones, but I don't want to give them away, so I'll let you figure those ones out on your own. But it was kind of challenging for me. There's kind of limited words for this. But understanding these gray areas will help people be happier, because of those of you that live for the shoulds and the musts, which means people live out a specific routine, or people have to do things this specific way in order to do things. When in reality there's tons of different ways that people do things to get throughout their days and what works best for them. But by accepting the maybes and the what ifs of life, you'll realize that good and bad are just in your head. We are prone to this kind of thinking because, according to the article Black and White Thinking in Our Social Worlds by Glenn Gear, PhD, says our minds seem to like the simple categorical ways to divide up information in the world. In many ways, we divide people into category by team, by if she's on my team or if she is not on my team, or they think of me this way or they think of me that way. People quickly divide folks into these categories, and we tend to treat people differently if they're in a group or not, which basically, people care what people think, basically. Another good one I found that sums it up is from Donald Miller of Storyline. He says that black and white thinking is attractive because it's reductionistic, which means it simplifies everything, so we don't have to to comprehend it. It allows us to feel intelligent, so then that way, after that, we feel superior to people. It is a common defense mechanism. People with borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, bipolar disorder, and depression are very prone. Other people are too, but those are the highest up there. There are some tips to help you avoid this kind of thinking, such as to separate your ego from your ideas, refrain from your thinking, and learn to be comfortable with uncertainty. Something else that may help that John Tim Ferriss has recommended is replacement thoughts. It's the 5-minute rule. So taking 5 minutes to respond differently after identifying a dualistic thought, which is black or white thought. Some things to think about in this instant is, I will locate the balanced gray area of any stressful situation that is presented to me. I will give up needing to be right and accepting that all circumstances is neutral. I will sit in the anxiety. I will think about it and accept the subtle balance and varying degrees of lie, where the degrees lie. And I will accept that I cannot have certainty about most things right now. Remember, nothing is perfect, and most things are not simply defined. Thinking black and white sets us up for frustration and disappointment. Life is about the gray areas. Things are seldom black and white, even when we wish they were, and we think that they should be. And I like exploring this nuanced terrain. Emily Gibbon.